Hi, I'm Mary. Before we begin, let me ask you something gently. Have you ever noticed how the thoughts you repeat in your head seem to quietly shape the direction of your life? How the days you wake up feeling hopeful somehow unfold differently from the days you wake up already exhausted by worry? This isn't about superstition. It's about attention. What you consistently say to yourself becomes the lens through which you interpret effort, failure, and progress. Today's episode is not about chasing motivation in big dramatic bursts. It's about the small sentences you whisper to yourself every morning. Sentences that slowly build resilience, patience, and trust in your own path. I'm going to share 6 ways of thinking you can practice daily, not as affirmations you shout into the mirror, but as calm reminders that help you stay grounded when life feels uncertain. Think of this episode as a quiet reset, something you can return to whenever you need clarity, steadiness, and encouragement to keep moving forward. Tip 1. Today can be a lucky day for me. When people talk about luck, they often imagine something random, a coincidence, a rare opportunity, or a moment that simply happens to favor them. But in daily life, luck is often less about chance and more about perception. When you begin the day believing that good things are possible, your nervous system relaxes slightly. You become more open to conversations, more willing to take small risks, and more attentive to subtle opportunities. This doesn't mean everything suddenly goes perfectly. It means you stop filtering the world through fear. Many people unconsciously expect things to go wrong. They prepare for disappointment before it even arrives. As a result, they speak more cautiously, hesitate longer, and sometimes miss opportunities that require presence rather than perfection. On the other hand, people who believe they are lucky tend to carry a quiet confidence. They assume that even if something doesn't work out as planned, it will still lead somewhere useful. This mindset changes how they respond to setbacks, not with panic, but with curiosity. Saying, "Today can be a lucky day for me," is not about forcing optimism. It's about allowing possibility. It's a way of telling your mind to stay open instead of defensive. Luck, in this sense, is not something you wait for. It's something you become receptive to. When you move through the day with openness rather than resistance, you naturally place yourself in situations where good outcomes are more likely to emerge through people, timing, and choices you might otherwise overlook. Tip 2. Today is a new opportunity to become a better version of myself. One of the quiet reasons people lose motivation is not failure, it's comparison. When you constantly measure your life against someone else's progress, you slowly disconnect from your own direction. Every person is moving through a different timeline, different backgrounds, different responsibilities, different starting points. When you compare results without seeing context, you create pressure that has nothing to do with growth and everything to do with self-doubt. This way of thinking invites a different reference point: yourself. Not who you want to become someday, but who you were yesterday. Did you show up a little more honestly? Did you respond instead of react? Did you take one small action that aligned with the person you're trying to become? Improvement doesn't always feel productive. Often it feels subtle, even invisible. But growth compounds when it's repeated, not when it's dramatic. When you wake up and remind yourself that today is a new opportunity, you release the weight of yesterday's mistakes. You stop treating past struggles as proof that you're behind. Instead, you see them as part of the process. This mindset also softens impatience. You stop demanding immediate transformation and start valuing consistency. You understand that becoming better is not a single decision. It's a daily practice. A helpful sentence to carry with you might be, "Today, I'll focus on progress, not comparison." Over time, this quiet commitment builds confidence that is rooted in reality, not performance. Tip 3. I am capable, and I can build the skills I don't yet have. Many people confuse where they are now with who they are forever. This is where self-doubt quietly takes root. Not knowing how to do something yet is often mistaken for a lack of ability. But ability is not a fixed trait. It's a result of exposure, repetition, and patience. Every skill you admire in others was once unfamiliar to them. People who grow steadily tend to share one belief. They trust their capacity to learn. When they encounter difficulty, they don't interpret it as a personal flaw. They interpret it as a signal that they're stretching beyond what's comfortable. This mindset changes how challenges feel. Instead of thinking, "I'm not good enough," the question becomes, what part of this do I need to practice more? Confidence doesn't appear before action. It follows action. It forms after you show up repeatedly, even when the outcome isn't perfect. This is why waiting to feel ready often leads to stagnation. A powerful inner reminder is simple. I may not have this skill yet, but I can develop it. This sentence removes shame from learning. It allows you to make mistakes without turning them into identity statements. You stop saying, "This means I'm bad," and start saying, "This means I'm in training." Over time, this belief compounds. You become someone who doesn't fear unfamiliar territory because you trust your ability to adapt. Capability is not proven by immediate success. It's proven by your willingness to stay engaged while learning. Tip 4. Today's setbacks are shaping tomorrow's success. Setbacks often feel heavier than they need to be because we experience them emotionally first. In the moment, a failure can feel like a personal verdict, as if it says something permanent about your intelligence, your worth, or your potential. But setbacks are not conclusions. They are data. Every time something doesn't work, it reveals information. Where your assumptions were inaccurate, where preparation was insufficient, or where timing needs adjustment. Without these moments, improvement stays shallow. People who make long-term progress don't avoid mistakes. They build a relationship with them. They understand that refinement requires friction. Think about any complex skill: problem-solving, communication, leadership, or creativity. Mastery comes from correction, not perfection. Each misstep narrows the gap between what you know and what you need to know next. When you adopt the mindset that setbacks are shaping future success, frustration softens into curiosity. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you begin asking, "What is this teaching me?" This shift changes your energy. You stop rushing to prove yourself and start focusing on understanding yourself. A grounding reminder can be, "This didn't work, and that's part of the process." When you view setbacks as temporary and informative, you become more resilient. You recover faster. You try again with clarity instead of self-criticism. Success is rarely built on uninterrupted progress. It's built on the willingness to adjust, refine, and continue, especially when results are delayed. Tip 5. I choose gratitude and focus my energy on what's constructive. Your attention is limited. Where you place it determines not only how you feel, but how clearly you think. Many people believe motivation comes from fixing everything that's wrong. In reality, constant focus on problems drains energy faster than it creates solutions. Gratitude is not about denying difficulties. It's about choosing what deserves your mental space. When you practice gratitude, you train your mind to notice what is working, even while improving what isn't. This balance keeps you grounded. It prevents frustration from becoming your default state. This way of thinking also applies to how you relate to others. When you focus only on flaws, in people, systems, or situations, connection becomes exhausting. But when you acknowledge strengths alongside boundaries, relationships feel lighter and more honest. Choosing gratitude doesn't mean tolerating what harms you. It means recognizing where your energy actually creates impact. Complaining rarely changes outcomes. Clarity and intentional focus do. A helpful daily reminder is, I will invest my energy where it supports growth. This sentence invites discernment. You stop engaging in unnecessary negativity, conversations, thoughts, or environments that offer no return. Over time, gratitude sharpens perspective. You become more selective, more present, and less reactive. You learn that peace is not found by controlling everything, but by choosing wisely what you respond to. Gratitude is not passive. It's an active decision to protect your attention and direct it toward what builds rather than drains you. Tip 6. As long as I don't quit, moving slowly is still progress. Modern culture often celebrates speed, fast success, quick results, immediate recognition. While this can be motivating in short bursts, it quietly creates a dangerous belief that slow progress equals failure. In reality, most meaningful growth happens gradually. Skills mature through repetition. Confidence strengthens through experience. Identity forms through consistency, not urgency. When progress feels slow, many people assume something is wrong. They begin to question their path, their ability, or their worth. But slowness is not a flaw. It's often a sign that you're building something real and stable. This mindset gives you permission to learn without panic, to make mistakes without shame, to rest without guilt. When you stop rushing yourself, you create space for understanding, not just achievement. Quitting usually doesn't happen because people lack talent. It happens because they misinterpret the timeline. They expect results before foundations are ready. A grounding reminder is simple. I'm allowed to move at my own pace. When you internalize this, pressure softens. You stop competing with imaginary deadlines and start respecting your capacity. Progress becomes sustainable rather than exhausting. Consistency compounds quietly. What feels small today accumulates into skill, clarity, and confidence over time. Moving slowly while staying committed is powerful, because as long as you continue, growth is inevitable, even if it unfolds in ways you can't yet see. As we come to the end of this episode, I want to remind you of something simple but important. Motivation doesn't come from forcing yourself to feel strong every day. It comes from the relationship you build with yourself over time. The words you repeat internally shape that relationship. They influence how you respond to uncertainty, how gently you treat yourself during setbacks, and how patiently you stay committed when progress feels slow. These ways of thinking are not meant to turn life into something perfect. They are meant to help you stay steady, to help you continue, even on days when clarity is missing and confidence feels quiet. You don't need to change everything at once. You only need to return to these reminders when you feel lost or overwhelmed. Be patient with your pace. Trust your ability to learn. And remember that showing up consistently is already a form of success. You're allowed to grow slowly. You're allowed to take up space. And you're allowed to believe that your effort matters.